Niners win, Niners win, Niners win. Man, what a big rout for the 49ers. They have won. They beat the Cardinals. They put up 40 points in the process. Brock Purdy returns. He has a big day. Ricky Pearsall returns. Not such a big day for Ricky. We got a lot to get to. Danny's in the house. Kev will be here. JD eventually. Maybe Frank. Possibly Rye. We got a lot to get to. Welcome to the Krug Show. Let's go. We're off and running on the Krug Show after Niner football. We welcome in Frank Red. Danny's here. Kev is rebooting. He'll be back in a second. The Cardinals needed to reboot. Wow, what a game for the 49ers and the Cardinals. I don't know that there is a coach that has done themselves more damage today than Jonathan Gannon. I don't think Jonathan Gannon walked into this game in danger of being fired, but you kind of got to wonder now. Man, that was a awful performance by the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, just no way around that. And the 49ers get the win, a very impressive win at that. Brock Purdy came back. He didn't quite look like Brock Purdy. He definitely didn't look as comfortable as we've seen him look in the past. But overall, I would say, good performance for Brock for sure. And the Niners get a really nice win. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We will be going to Pig and a Pickle on the bye week, so join us on December 7th for our meet and greet. Be there all day watching football. Stop by, have some brisket chili maybe, and have a beer or root beer or whatever. Go Christmas shopping in the mall there in Corte Madera. But say hello and help support the Krug Show, and really more importantly, help support our sponsor, the great Pig and a Pickle, which has been the title sponsor of the Krug Show. So thanks to them. We'll see you all on December the 7th. Guys, what'd you think? Purdy, 19 of 26, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, was sacked 1 time. At times, he held the ball a little long. He only ran 1 time on the day. He had opportunities to scramble and passed it up. I think that's probably turf toe related. McCaffrey ran for 6.2 a carry and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He had a receiving touchdown, 3 touchdowns overall for McCaffrey. Kittle, 6 catches for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. Big day for Curtis Robinson on the defensive side. He had 12 tackles. D. Winters had a great day. He had 10 tackles, 5 solo. 49ers got an interception from Demo Lenore. They got an interception from Malik Mustafa. They got a 98-yard kickoff return to start the game from Sky Moore, who's one of my favorite guys. Eddie Pinheiro made 3 field goals, but missed 2 extra points and suffered a hamstring injury. And Thomas Morstead had to kick at the end. So the Niners roll to 7-4. They looked really good in the process. The Cardinals fall to 3-7, 1-4 at home. And what I was talking about with Gannon, the Cardinals in this game had 17 penalties for 130 yards. Arizona controlled the ball for 34 minutes compared to 25 for the Niners, but they were -3 in turnovers, and they had 16 more penalties than the Niners. Niners had 1 for 15 yards, and the Cardinals had 17 for 130. Man, I got to think Gannon is going to feel the heat before the end of the night. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll live to see another day, but that's the kind of game that gets you fired. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, I thought the Niners, set the tone right away at the opening kickoff. Sky Moore, 98 yards, gets it down to the 1. And then McCaffrey, next play, touchdown. And then they score again, 13-0. That's the Niners, the way they can, win ball games is get up early, because they don't do well when they're behind. And they're not a really great come-from-behind team. We've seen that when Kyle gets ahead, he can kind of, control the game a little bit more. And then I also thought what was key today was the defense really showed up. 2 pickoffs. I mean, 2 picks today. Would they only have 1 coming into the whole season, right?
Yeah.
This game?
Yes.
Yeah. So doubled your INTs in week 11. Imagine that.
Frank, what'd you think?
I thought the 49ers played to their identity today. The one constant to me has been the hustle of the defensive unit when I compare them to last year. And that doesn't always culminate into a sack. But when you are relentless and you're playing, you got 11 guys hustling to the ball, good things happen. And this afternoon, they were able to get a couple of picks because Brissett had a lot of completion, but he was a little rushed. I just love how the defense plays. I mean, I think they have enough offense. Their quarterback room is excellent. I thought Purdy was really good today because he didn't look nervous. He didn't look quite like Purdy, but he was not nervous, and he put the ball on the line multiple times. So this was a very impressive win for me because I've seen Arizona play better at home. 17 penalties is ridiculous. I'm sure they're going to be practicing at 12 o'clock tonight. I'm being facetious, but if they could, they would. That was a terrible, terrible performance by Arizona from a fundamental perspective.
It really was. Let's go back to the very beginning of the game because I had a conversation this week at his locker with Sky Moore. And I walked up to him and I said, hey, man, you're close. You're close. I go, I love the way you take it up the field. There's no fear. There's no dancing. There's no east and west. You're not afraid of getting blown up. And then he looked at me and he's like, but man, I do get blown up sometimes. I'm like, yeah, you do. You get blown up, but you don't fumble the ball. And I said, man, I've been watching the All-22. And I said, you're this close to a house call. You're this close. And he's like, I know, man. It's coming. I feel one coming. So I'm going to have to go in there this week and do an interview with him and talk about the conversation we had. Because, I mean, I was like, dude, you are on the verge of busting one. And then I went on the 49er show with Brianna on their channel on the 49ers have their own YouTube. And I predicted on that one that that Sky Moore was gonna have a house call. He almost had one. Almost had one. 98 yards. Unbelievable. It showed tremendous hustle on the part of whomever it was on Arizona. I forget who it was who tracked him down at the one. But Sky Moore, this guy has no fear. He'll take it up the field. I've talked about some of the mistakes he's made. He made a mistake a couple weeks ago where he let the ball land right at his feet. It almost ricocheted off him. It was almost downed inside the 5. Two ridiculously bad plays, but on one play. But I mean, he's also there's no fear, and he gets up the field with the total vengeance and speed. And even if there's guys coming full speed at him, he's going full speed up the field. I love to see it because it's the only way that you can really break one on special teams is you got to have that up the field, super burst, no fear, play it as it comes. I just thought it was genius. So it was great to see that because this guy's gotten close and the special teams, are obviously wearing a lot of pressure. The Niners have had really bad special teams. They got third different coordinator, special teams coordinators since Shanahan's been here. But if the special teams could eventually become a strength, that would be great. But I thought that Sky Moore 98-yard return gave them just a total lift. I mean, my God, one play later, it's 7-0. Purdy's playing with a lead. I mean, it's just, what'd you guys think of the opening salvo there, the 98-yard return from Sky?
Thought it was unbelievable. It's a tone setter.
Yeah, it was absolutely a tone setter.
I mean, you can't open the game any better than that. That's just.
Well, you could if you one more yard.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, one more yard.
But talking about special teams here, Niners have Cleveland next week.
Carolina, right?
We're having an audio issue, Rye. We're gonna have to put you back in the.
Back in Carolina. Don't you play Carolina?
What do they got next week? What do the Niners have next week?
I think it's Carolina.
Yeah. Is it Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that they got who? And then before their bye?
Cleveland.
Okay.
I think they go Cleveland. Carolina, Cleveland, and
then they got a bye.
No, they have one more.
Don't they have a bye in week 14?
Is it? Yeah, maybe it's just 2 more than the bye.
Okay, so my point is that Pinero, you might need a kicker for two weeks. Excuse me, hamstring, you probably don't want to rush it back and have it be a problem all year. Take the 2 games, get the 3rd week with the bye, and then that should be enough for him hopefully to heal. But who do the Niners grab? It would be funny to see him go grab Jake Moody off the Bears.
How you been kicking it?
Squad.
How you been kicking it out there in Del Boca Vista? I mean,
it's a little too late for me.
No,
it's a little too late for me.
Could you imagine the disappointment if all of a sudden Dan Cochimilio replaced Eddie Pinheiro? I mean, it would be a lot of disappointment. I don't know who's available, but
Jake Moody from the Bears practice squad.
Maybe Matthew Wright or somebody, or he might have got picked up as well. But we'll see if
kickers available. Yeah. I think you're looking at 2 weeks.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you never know. Maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe he'll be back.
Did he hurt it on that play, the block where he tried to run it? He picked it up. Is that when he hurt it?
He got hit hard at one point in this game. I'm not sure exactly where. Morstead had to make a tackle, and at one point, Eddie Pinheiro, I thought, got hit hard. I had it down in my notes.
I know he on the blocked.
He got thrown to the ground.
Yeah, he got thrown to the ground on a blocked kick.
Uh-oh. We're still working on that audio for Rye.
Somebody said I'd pull both hammies lining up for the kick. You no kidding.
Yeah. But I mean, I would say overall, I mean, the only part about this game that was like, a little bit, the only disappointing part is they tried to get Pearsall involved and they couldn't. And he continues to just not produce. I mean, he's had good games for sure, but I mean, one reception for negative yards or no yards. It was like at the line of scrimmage. Only 3 targets all day. What do you guys make of that? What do you make of the fact that Pearsall can't really seem to get back in their mix?
Well, I'd like to know how many routes did he run? Because I don't know if did he play a full?
No, I don't think so. He probably played less than a full game, but they targeted him 3 times. So,
I mean, there were some plays where I know one when Juwan Jennings had an out route for 15 yards where Pearsall was running the clear out and both guys went with Pearsall. It allowed Juwan to be wide open. So, yeah, he didn't have a lot on the stat sheet, but I wasn't really anticipating Pearsall having a huge game when he's been out for 7 weeks with a knee injury that he's probably still lingering a little bit.
I thought McBride would get 15 to 20 targets. He got 11. He caught 10 of them for 115 yards. Michael Wilson had the game of his life, 18 targets, 15 catches, 185 yards, no touchdowns. But the Niners didn't let the Cardinals run. The Cardinals only ran for 2.6 a carry. The 49ers themselves, they had a 20-yard run. Hey, how about that? 20-yard run from McCaffrey. And he averaged 6.2 a carry. But the Niners only averaged 3.8 a carry. So they're still kind of struggling to run the football. I thought Purdy looked good, but he also, to me, looked hesitant to run. He had a couple opportunities to run early and pass them up. I'm okay with that, to be honest. If he has to play more from the pocket the rest of the year to stay in the game and stay upright and stay away from exacerbating the turf toe, then if that's what he's got to be for the rest of this year, then that's what he's got to be. I mean, if he doesn't have that escapability, it's a factor. But if he can, as long as he can play effectively from within the pocket, yes, it takes away an element of his game. But the guy had a 135.5 rating today. I mean, 200 yards, 19 of 26, 3 touchdowns. Didn't look rusty. He looked a little pained when he ran. And there was a couple passes where it's like, what the heck was that? I mean, how about the pass to Juszczyk late in the game that just was like the biggest duck of all time? I mean, that thing took forever to get there.
Yeah, and the last one to McCaffrey, the very last pass he threw was to McCaffrey, where he made McCaffrey go up for it and almost get up.
Maybe I'm thinking of that. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. I thought one he had to Juszczyk, but it might have been to McCaffrey.
Yeah, it was to McCaffrey because I had a parlay bet that he would throw over 25.5 passes. I would just throw one more, and that was the 26th pass of his. Yeah. So
I mean, my question on that was, why was CMC still in the game at that point?
Well, that's the other
he
question.
had
Why was
3 touches
Purdy
on
still
that
in the
drive.
game?
Yeah.
Why was Purdy still in the game as late as he was? That was like,
Purdy's it
whoa.
makes more sense. Like, he's your starting quarterback. You're not going to pull your quarterback till it's really, really over. But I mean, I wouldn't have mind.
here we go. Game winner on the line. 19-19 Kansas City, Denver. 3 seconds left.
How much?
And Will Lutz is coming in to kick a 35-yarder to walk it off.
Is this on?
Denver hits it.
If Denver makes it, Chiefs go to 5-5.
I'm not sure what you guys said for your opening statements,
And
but
it's good.
I
the Chiefs are 5-5.
I think Danny might be behind. I think Kevin might have called that one already.
Okay, I'm watching on streaming, so a little.
Kev, you make a point. What did you say, Kev? You making a point?
I'm not sure. I was lagging out a little bit in the beginning, so I didn't get to open up with anything. But I'm not sure what your guys' takeaways from this game were. But this is just one of the craziest box scores you're ever going to see from a team stats perspective. I just think it's crazy. I mean, in a game where it's 41-22, the Niners smoke them by 19 points. They had the same amount of first downs. The Cardinals outgained them 488 yards to 281. They outgained them on a per play basis, 6.9 yards per play versus the Niners 5.4. They passed for 452 yards to the Niners 186. And they got demolished. I mean, a lot of times after games, people say, oh, penalties really screwed us. This was a game where penalties screwed the Cardinals. And I'm not saying it's not their fault. It's 100% their fault, but it happened. Like, what was it? It was 17 penalties for 130 yards versus the Niners 1 penalty for 15. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot. There's only so many plays in football that really hurt you, and it's getting stacked, getting a holding call or a penalty, and turnovers. And the Cardinals with 3 turnovers and 17 penalties, that's the ball game right there. That's just it's insane.
Well, I was saying, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was saying off the rip that I don't think that Gannon was on the hot seat coming into this game, but it's the kind of game that almost might put him on the hot seat. I mean, it's a very new regime, and I know there's a lot of optimism there for Monty Ossenfort and for Gannon and what they've got going, and they're in there with their backup quarterback, no receivers today. I mean, there's a lot of factors, but I mean, if you want to put out what is the game that makes you get fired? 3 turnovers at home, 17 penalties on a day where the 49ers got 1. I mean, and so many of them were just costly they had touchdowns called back. And I mean, it's just a train wreck, of a football team.
This is a bad performance because I think that Arizona, although they're 3-7, they have a reputation as a team that competes.
Right.
And this was not an example of them competing. If you can control one thing as a coach, it's making sure that your players are ready to play. Some of these penalties are just god awful, or like the personal fouls and things of that nature. I mean, you can't do that. So, I mean, I revert back to all of the great coaches. Somebody gets fired tomorrow. You have 17 penalties and you think, oh, this is okay. No, it's not okay, because my job's on the line just like your job's on the line. Somebody gets fired. I don't wish for it, but good teams make moves like that because you can't win with 17 penalties. You can't.
Speaking of penalties, probably the biggest penalty on the Niners side was the only penalty they had, which was the Renardo Green penalty for fighting McBride. Did you see Shanahan just absolutely volcanic temper on the sideline, man?
Well, it's the worst penalty you could possibly have in that situation. There's nothing else. It was a 3rd and long play where they didn't convert, and then you just give them the ball back. I thought the funny thing there was that it was almost like it was a little bit of unfair. I mean, Green shouldn't have done that, but McBride kind of provoked it, and then Green just fires back, and it just sucks that Green gets called for that. But then, did you guys see 2 plays later, McBride gets called with a taunting penalty which was the weakest taunting penalty I've ever
I don't know
seen.
what that was.
Well, it was one of those classic, let's get him back.
Oh, yeah, that was, I felt like I was watching an NBA game. I mean, seriously, because it was just, you know what it was? It was that they made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
They should have had offsetting penalties on Green and McBride. They didn't see, obviously the official didn't see McBride instigate. Then they give the penalty to Green. And then they obviously one of the other officials said, hey, McBride did something there. And, he caused that. And then on the very next play, he gets a personal or a taunting penalty for just saying simply first down. All he did was he scored the first down. He was like, first down. Right. And it's like, come on, Michael Irvin did that 1,000 times at Miami. I mean, like Randall Thrill-Hill is still doing that at Miami.
He did something with the nose. He went like this, and then the official said something, showed him. He goes, you went like this first.
Yeah, but come on, man.
What
it was
is
so
that?
laughable. And that's why he did it again later and didn't get called for it. Did you see that? He did it again.
I did see that.
That was like his way of saying, you know what? It was bogus. I think Kev's right. I think it was a makeup call.
Oh, yeah. It was
a total makeup call. Total makeup call. You don't see that in the NFL. But then, McBride was involved in the next play, and they had an opportunity for a makeup call, and they grabbed it. It's like, hey, wait a second. We got a chance for a makeup call. Boom. We're going to do it. I mean, McBride was literally laughing about the call. You could see the smile on his face. He was like, dude, really? Really? But yeah, but I was going to say, then Shanahan benched Renardo Green, or Saleh did, because Renardo Green was on the bench for a little while. Now he got off the bench because, they need everybody. But did you guys see that too? I was just watching it on the TV copy. It's like, well, I couldn't really tell. I was writing things down, making a lot of notes, but I don't know for how long he was benched, but that drive continued. I think he might not have played the rest of that drive. Ryland eventually kicked a 26-yard field goal that was partially blocked by Alfred Collins. How often do you see that, by the way? A field goal that gets blocked that still goes through the uprights to make it 19-10. So kind of a weird sequence there in the game. I guess that was late second quarter, I believe, maybe early second quarter. A lot of good things in this. A lot of good things in this game. There was the Brian Robinson on that next drive towards the end of the second quarter had a beautiful 42-yard kickoff return. And there was another penalty on that one. I thought, oh my God, it's the Niners negating this. And instead it was Arizona. How do you have an illegal formation, by the way, on a kickoff? I mean, it's like you really got to try to be bad if you're getting illegal formations on kickoffs. But that later on that drive, that was the Niners' fifth drive. It was 3rd and 5, and Purdy went to Pearsall, and he was incomplete, and it was a near interception by number 35, and that was just another one of those duck passes that Purdy threw and got away with in this game. It looked like he wanted to run. He got flushed, and it looked like there was an avenue to run, but then he kind of drifted, didn't show interest in running, and then kind of forced it to Pearsall in a crowd, threw it up into a crowd with nothing on it, and 35 dove at it, and it was incomplete. But I thought that was a horrendous play by Purdy. I mean, at that point in the game, it's second quarter. It's 19-10 49ers. They're roughly around midfield. They're at the 43-yard line. And, for that pass, let's just say this. Purdy looked good, and there'll be a lot of people talking about how good he looked tomorrow, I'm sure. But there was a handful of passes that he got away with in this game, and that was one of them.
Even the one Juwan Jennings went up and caught with like 3 guys around him, a combat catch. That was kind of up for grabs. I mean, the timing was pretty good, but there was a lot of traffic around Juwan, and I thought today's game was probably one of Juwan's best games of the year. No offsides penalties, and he made some pretty tough catches. So there were a couple of passes that Purdy threw that were in traffic that his teammates actually came down with the ball for him, but things could have gone a different way.
Overall, were you guys, somebody said to me earlier this week, hey, you know what? This is going to go one of two ways. If the 49ers look bad, it's going to be this, you know what? Shanahan should not have gone back to Purdy. Should have stayed with the hot hand. Should have rolled with the hot quarterback, the healthy quarterback, Mac Jones. And then the other side of it was, well, but if Purdy plays awesome and the Niners put up some big fat point total, it's going to be like, hey, this team is a legitimate title contender in the NFC. They can put up points with this quarterback. Why didn't you guys get some help at the trade deadline for your defense? So I don't know. I mean, there will be. I guess that's a good problem to have. That you're you look like a better contender than the help that you got at the deadline. But what do you guys? Let's go around the room on this one. How do you see the 49ers as a Super Bowl contender? Pre Purdy coming back with Jones, and then how do you see him now? Let's just assume that Purdy can maybe come back and play. Maybe he isn't going to be a runner, but can still, like we saw today, make plays from the pocket, and maybe be able to have a much more explosive offense, which is obviously what they need because their defense is so challenged. How do you see the Niners as a contender after what we saw today? Let's go around the room. Rye, why don't we start with you? We haven't heard from you.
First of all, sorry, I'm looking a little bummy right now. I'm under the weather, so I'm all bundled up. I actually also noticed that I think my underwear is in the background, but that's all right. You won't notice that. I don't really view him much different. Maybe a slightly higher ceiling. I mean, clearly Shanahan, the offense is clearly different when Purdy's in there. Like they're a pass first team, like straight up pass first team when Purdy's in there. We saw it last year. We saw it at the beginning of this year. And this is just a team that's going to have to win in shootouts. Now, compared to I had the quad box going, and it's like you see the Rams Seahawks going, and it's like, that's a completely different level of football being played over there. The Seahawks, I mean, Darnold is seeing ghosts, throws 4 picks, not even one tip, just 4 terrible picks. And
I didn't watch this game. He threw 4 picks today.
He threw 4 picks. I think 2 of them landed the Rams inside the 5-yard line, and they still only lost by 2 and had a kick to win it. That's how good the Seahawks defense looked. And by contrast, I mean, we know how good the Rams are. So both those teams look like absolute, title contending teams. And by comparison, it was this Cardinals team today. It's pretty hard to judge because I mean, the Niners, they put up 40 points. They also had a ton of things happen that literally the 49ers do not do and have not done in a year and a half. One of them being getting awesome kick returns. They had one all the way down, a 98-yarder, plus they had the Brian Robinson one to get him through halfway through to the midfield. They had 2 interceptions, one taken back pretty well by Lenore. They never get interceptions, and plus another punch out. And they only had, I think, 1 penalty, and the Cardinals just could not stop turning the ball over. So it was kind of the Niners were, they started with basically gave them a touchdown. Then they kept getting the ball at about, midfield. It was a pretty easy 40 points. The 40 points racked up pretty easily is what I would say. So I don't necessarily take that much from this game, other than I do think Brock looked a heck of a lot better than he did versus the Jags. I mean, he's still throwing some of the lollipops are just it's more so shocking because you don't see that on Sundays ever. It's that last pass to CMC, nobody else in the league is throwing that ball that's just a Steph Curry over Wembanyama ball, just to a jump ball to Christian McCaffrey. It's just hung in the air. But the Niners are in a good spot right now where they play a bunch of crap teams, and it's going to be tight for them to even get in the playoffs. The Bears, the dumb Bears, I don't even think are good, and they just keep winning. So, and the Panthers won again. So I definitely don't think they're Super Bowl contenders at all. But get in the playoffs, they could win a game.
Frank, what do you think? How do you view the Niners in their as a playoff contender, as a Super Bowl contender, now that we've seen Purdy return successfully and put up 40 plus?
I definitely think they'll make the playoffs. I think when they are at their best, their offense is a high level. I mean, they got one of the best tight ends. Kittle looks as good as he's looked in a while. McCaffrey, I think, is on a MVP arc. I don't think he's going to win it, but I think he's going to get some votes by his versatility. I love their quarterback room, so I'm not concerned about injuries. I like their defense. I think they got a defense that's probably a top 12, top 15 without even a dominant guy to sack the quarterback. So I like them getting into the playoffs. I think some of these teams can knock each other off. We don't know what the injury component is going to be. So, I mean, coming off last year, just to make the playoffs and compete against other teams, to me, is a major win. Would I pick them as a prohibitive favorite to win the Super Bowl? No. But I think they will make the playoffs and represent the NFC West pretty good.
Kev, what do you think? How do you see the Niners as in the contender status coming out of this thing?
I mean, they have a shot. They definitely have a shot. I'm not going to sit here and say that they should be favorites or anything like that. I think the defense is definitely not there. And I like what Ryan was saying. This is, they have an easy schedule here. This is going to be what the next 3 weeks are going to be like. The Niners they're not going to have to play a perfect game to win these games. And I'm not saying they played bad today. They played well today, but they allowed 470 yards to a backup quarterback.
Some of it was like bend but don't break kind of.
Yeah, for sure. But 470 yards, it's a career high for him. Things didn't have to go perfect on the defensive end for the Niners for them to win this game, and they won it pretty comfortably. If this team was a little bit better, this game would be a lot closer. But I'm not going to sit here and just, say this is a bad win or something like that. It's a great win. They won the game, and now they have 3 easy-ish opponents, I guess. The Panthers are actually pretty sneaky good, I think, and the Browns, I think, did they end up losing to the Ravens, or was it a close game? I know it was tied at the very end.
They ended up losing. I mean, if they play Shedeur, that changes. I was a little bit worried about Schwartz and all that, but if they play Shedeur, the Niners should be fine.
Why Shedeur look bad today?
Unbelievable sequence where he gets in, I think, second play of his career, throws just one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see. Lamar immediately throws an interception to turn it back, and then next play, the next drive, Shedeur again right to a defender, but the guy dropped it. But yeah, he looked terrible. It's like 14 of 16, something like that.
I think with Purdy, just finish my thought here.
Yeah,
with Purdy, they definitely have a higher ceiling. For better or for worse, he's a more of a gunslinger, I think, than Mac. I think Mac was way more likely to take the check down, make the safe play. Yeah, Mac threw interceptions, but a lot of the times when you throw an interception, it was on a fourth down play or third and long where they had to convert, or you had to force something. I think Purdy's more apt to just force something when he doesn't need to, and we saw a little bit of that today when he was throwing the ball. He didn't need to throw the ball, and it should have been an interception. I thought there were probably 2 plays in this game where the ball should have been intercepted by the Cardinals, and it wasn't. But he also, for the same reason, he'll sling it, and he'll make big plays that I think Mac Jones doesn't make. So I'll take Purdy's high ceiling, and that puts him in any game. I think that with their offense, the players that they have, they're going to be in any game, but it's going to come down to the defense not allowing 400 yards against a mediocre offense. They're going to have to really bottle that up. And we saw a little bit of Nick Martin today. I think that, with all the injuries, but I don't know what we know about Bethune, but he might be out. So the Niners are really thin now at linebacker. The defensive line is the defensive line. So I can't say that they're going to be Super Bowl contenders, but they're definitely going to get in the playoffs, I think. And if they're in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah, let's get to Danny, but I do want to read this quote from Kyle on Brock Purdy. He was asked about Purdy after the game. It's a pretty good quote here. He goes, "I don't want to compare him to anyone else. You just have to look at his numbers and stuff throughout his career. Not many people have done it better than him. He's been as efficient as anyone and made as many big plays as anyone. He's led us to a lot of wins." There's just no doubt about any of that. Danny, go ahead. How do you see the Niners? What's their status? How do you view them in the whole, Super Bowl tournament? How do you see them coming out of this one?
Yeah, I see them as playoff contenders and Super Bowl pretenders. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team with the defense. You look at their plus minus, they're plus 9 on the season. The Rams are plus 100. The Seahawks are plus 101, more dominant type teams. You still got the Eagles. I think it's going to come down to they have to win these next 3 games. And why do I say that? Because they've got the Panthers at home, and then they've got the Browns on the road. Then they have their bye, and then they've got the Titans at home. You got to win those 3. That gets you to 10 wins. You've got 2 built-in losses on the schedule that I see, the Colts and the Seahawks. And it's going to come down to that Bears game, because the Bears have 6 games left, and they've only lost 3 games. So you got to hope the Bears lose to the Eagles and one of the games to the Packers and to the Niners, and they both finished 11-6, and the Niners would get the tiebreaker.
Yeah,
I think that's how they're going to make the playoffs.
I think there's no doubt that they got 4 games now, 3 coming up, but this is a 4-game stretch that's very favorable with the bye after the 3rd game, right? It's Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, Titans, with 2 of the next 3 at home. That's a very favorable schedule. 1 Browns going into the bye, Titans coming out of the bye. If you can get all 4 of those wins, it really sets up nicely for your 3-game finish against Colts, Bears, and Seahawks. Where this gets a little dicey is if the Niners go 2-2, right? Because if the Niners go 2-2, then they're going to go into that final 3 games really probably needing the wins. This is, in a way, I didn't want to see Purdy. I'll freely admit, I did not want to see Purdy brought back right now. I wanted to see him held out until the bye. But, I haven't talked to him. I have no idea what his pain threshold is. I have no idea how his rehab's coming. I'm just watching practice. What I saw, though, in practice was a guy that didn't have a lot of arm strength and looked kind of pained when he was running. And I think you guys saw a little bit of that today. I mean,
those wounded ducks that he was throwing today, he threw at least 3 of them.
Yeah, I think
like Ryan said, that last one to McCaffrey was that could have got McCaffrey killed.
Right. I mean, you guys saw, I think, in this game what I talked about this week, seeing at practice, which was the accuracy is still pretty good, like maybe even better than what I saw going into the Jacksonville game. But the arm strength and his ability to really step into it, and then his willingness or desire to run, and he looks a little sore in the process. To me, those things are what I saw this week. Guy looks still a little sore running, looks a little kind of eager not to run. And then I also saw a guy whose arm strength on some of his passes looks kind of like below NFL standards, to be completely frank about it. So I don't know. I mean, they got the win today against a bad Cardinal team. He got away with the ducks that he did throw. He made a number of really good plays. The other thing we can't forget is Brock Purdy knows this offense better than any of these other quarterbacks that have been in it. So there's ability. I thought he's got an ability at the line of scrimmage to diagnose and attack. And he did that a couple times. Didn't he audible on the touchdown to Kittle?
He did.
And didn't he audible on the play to Juszczyk, and I think on another to McCaffrey on the touchdown? So, and there was, after the touchdown, I don't know if you guys saw this, McCaffrey at the end of the touchdown came up to him and was like, way to go, like this, like you read that at the line of scrimmage. And it turned out to be almost like a busted play. It was like McCaffrey unguarded in the flat. So I think there's something to be said for that, right? That Brock is a real competitive guy who knows this offense like the back of his hand. He could probably coach this offense to the other quarterbacks in the room. And doesn't have quite the physical package that he had pre-injury. But if he can play at this level, you know what? I'll take it. We'll take it. And I still think they're going to need some defensive help. To me, Keon White showed a couple of good things. I thought CJ West had a couple good moments. Alfred Collins had a couple good moments. But guys, there is no pass rush to speak of. None. Absolutely none. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is a slow guy who does not get rid of the ball, who holds it in the pocket and takes sacks. And let me see what they had. I don't think they had a sack. They had no sacks, and they only had 4 hits.
That's precisely why I say they're a Super Bowl pretender, because when you get to the playoffs, if they get there, they're going to get carved up on defense, and they are not going to be able to come back. They won big today because they had a lead right from the very beginning. You get behind, and Kyle's team his offense is completely different when he's playing from behind. And, with no pass rush, how are they going to stop some teams?
Well, to put it in perspective,
Yeah.
it's two different teams here. But the last time the Niners played Jacoby Brissett, they sacked him 6 times. 6 times. I mean, it was a different team. It was the Patriots.
Right.
But, I mean, that offensive line was not good. But this offensive line isn't anything to write home about. And how many times did they get home today? 0? So,
Yeah. Did you guys mention he set an NFL record?
No, I didn't mention that. Brissett set the NFL record for pass attempts in this game.
No, it was pass completions.
Was it pass completions?
47.
Yeah, that's right. 47 pass completions for Brissett in this thing.
That's like 2 games for some quarterbacks.
That's an NFL record. 47 pass completions. That set the NFL record today. That's truly amazing. Some people in the chat are like, dude, you're crushing Purdy. Purdy was great. I'm not crushing Purdy. I'm just telling you that I'm telling you what I saw in practice, and you guys saw it. I mean, did you not see that today? Did you not see that he looks a little pained running and that his arm strength on a couple passes looks like not quite right? I mean, it was still good enough to beat this team, and I have a feeling it may be good enough to run the table in this 4-game stretch, which is really, what we want to see here. I just wanted to see them hold him out, not because I don't think Brock Purdy's their best quarterback. I've stated that many times. I do think Brock Purdy's their best quarterback. I just wanted to hold him out because of the nature of that injury, just the nature of the turf toe and Mac's playing well. And I think Mac do you guys think that Mac Jones quarterback today wins this game? Because I do.
Oh,
yeah.
He definitely wins, but I think, Larry, it would have been more challenging and more difficult to bring Purdy back after a win, because at that point, I mean, Mac was playing well. He has played well. And if they're winning, all of a sudden Purdy comes back, I mean, there's more pressure. You really can't control the schedule. You might be playing against a dominant team. So I thought if they were going to bring him back, I thought today was the time to bring him back because they should beat Arizona regardless. And fortunately for him and for the team, he actually played above average today. So he quiets the noise around that quarterback controversy that was starting to brew a little bit.
That's a good point, Frank, because coming back, if you try and bring him back after wins, then it's like now you got a controversy if he loses. It's like, oh, Brock comes in and he loses. Now he wins. And how much of this game being in Arizona, Purdy's kind of hometown, how much did that play into it, you think, that Kyle started him in Arizona?
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't the reason.
I would say that has no factor.
It makes it nice, for Brock. Makes it a nice narrative. Brock might have been pushing for it. Says, hey, I'm 100%. I feel as close as I'm going to feel. I want to play.
Well, supposedly Brock was pushing to play last week against the Rams, and Shanahan said, you know what? No, let's hold off. And it makes sense because the Rams have a great defensive line, and that was going to be a very tough game to win, no matter who was quarterbacking it. And this was going to be a little bit easier. This was an easier spot to bring him back. And I think you, on some level, you do owe it to him to put him in a spot to make him, to make his return easier. And I think they did a nice job. This is a nice soft landing spot in the schedule, but it's also a vitally important spot, as we just discussed, because if they can pile up wins in this 4-game stretch, that's fewer games they got to win in that final 3-game stretch, which could wind up being very, very challenging.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense because maybe they know and we don't that Purdy for the rest of the season is going to have to play with pain, and it's just about managing it, and they don't know how he's going to play with pain. Purdy doesn't know how he's going to play with pain. If you're the Niners, why wouldn't you start him off in a 4-game stretch where it might be the easiest 4-game stretch of the entire season to ramp him up a little bit, get used to playing that way?
Now you got a home game coming back against an opponent that's right. What is aren't they right behind them? Carolina's 6-5, Niners are 7-4, so it's a must win. Next week.
And Carolina's playing well. I mean, Rico Dowdell is running the heck out of the football. Ted McMillan had his best day as a pro today.
Bryce Young did.
Bryce Young had a really good day. And Carolina, Carolina I think they're better than people think, for sure. I was looking at some of the pregame notes going into the week here, and there was a number of interesting notes tied to Carolina. The Panthers, they haven't been able to get the ball down the field to Tet McMillan. They average only the rookie. He averages only 11, or they average only 11.2 points over the past 4 games. And last week, I guess the Saints did a nice job against Carolina. But Dowdell and their run game is good. And, Carolina's an interesting team. I mean, Bryce Young can run. Tet McMillan's a tough cover. They play a lot of zone coverage on defense. In fact, they play zone coverage on a league high 84.8% of their dropbacks. So it's good, and that'll be interesting because the Cardinals play a lot of zone, but when they play the Niners, they play a lot of man. So the Niners typically struggle with man defense. Bryce Young coming into today was 5-4 as a starter this year, which was one shy of matching his total win total from the first 2 seasons of his career. He's 6-22 combined. But Dowdell has given them a real lift because, man, that guy's a shot in the arm. He's been fantastic. So Carolina's got a better rushing attack, and they're probably going to run the ball more effectively. So it's that game's going to be interesting. But you do have the feeling that with Purdy, he has the ability to change the play at the line. He knows the offense really well. He can get him in and into better plays and out of bad plays. I think he's probably a little bit more skilled because of his time in this offense at the line of scrimmage in getting them into more big time plays. So that's a good thing. And if he can manage the pain and, eliminate as much as possible those duck wobbly throws, and they can have a real strong rushing attack, who knows? I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, and I'd love to hear this one. I view success this year. Somebody asked me this week, what's success? And some people think success is just making the playoffs. Some people say success is not, they're going to have to, go to the Super Bowl. I kind of have it in between there. I kind of feel like success for the Niners this year should be measured in, they have to get to the playoffs, but that's not enough because the easiest schedule in the last 20 years or whatever, according to the stats. So I think making the playoffs, while that's normally a good enough, barometer, I would say that's not the measuring stick. For me, it's get to the playoffs and win a playoff game. If they get to the playoffs and they win a playoff game, even if it's just one, and they duck out in the next round, I don't know. I mean, I've looked at the numbers since Warner's been gone. The Niners are 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th in most of the defensive metrics since Warner left and after week 7 when he went down. So I don't know. I think that's a reasonable expectation. Let's throw that one around the room.
I feel like there's a lot of people have this wrong. Like a lot of people think that if you're not going to win the Super Bowl, that you should just tank and get the best pick, and that's the best thing for the franchise, the best thing for the team. I think there's real value. I swear I'm not just saying this because this is the situation the Niners are most likely in. I think there's real value in a team when you have young players and you're developing a roster to get playoff experience, to play these high leverage situations, than to just tank and lose every single game and try to get the second pick in the draft. I mean, obviously the Niners would not be tanking in the situation, but just the ability to make the playoffs and play in those situations. I think if you look at the Niners, at a larger, full picture future in mind, that's going to matter. That's going to matter in the end. If some of these guys play in these high leverage situations, get better, understand the moment, and, then develop the roster and go back to the playoffs and win it. You know what I mean? Like, some people are just solely focused on if you don't win the 6th Lombardi this year, you failed. Like the Niners are like it was just so like that's the only option for the Niners. Like they're like they're the Yankees in the 90s or something like that, where like if you don't win the chip, you're a loser. That's not this team. And I don't think anyone should really have that thought process on this team this year.
Chris Wall says, this is the 49ers. We want Lombardis. I mean, I get that, but I mean, I mean, I got to be honest. You sound a little bit like the 6-year-old, the petulant child in the corner going, "I want my juice box." I mean, you kind of sound like that. Niner fan 57 says, "So getting lucky in one playoff game makes it a success." Yeah, this year, I would say. I mean, if there's circumstances, it's not excuses. I mean, there's a gigantic thing in the locker room. It says no excuses. Like they have 3 rules: like be on time, have a good attitude, and no excuses. Don't make excuses. So the Niners don't make excuses. We're not going to make any excuses. But it's not really excuses. It's just the way it is. It's like, I mean, you get on an airplane, you fully expect to, land safely in the next city. If by chance you lose an engine on the trip, you're just hoping that you get there in one piece. So that's kind of where they're at. It's like when they launched, they were like, yeah, let's win it all. But then you lost Bosa, then you lost Warner. I mean, I don't know, guys. I mean, if you guys haven't seen this was out earlier today. Since Warner went down in week 7, the 49er defense is 30th in success rate, 28th in points per drive, 27th in EPA per drive. They just allowed Brissett to set the record for completions. A lot of that coverage today was just flat out soft. Now you could argue bend but don't break, or you could just say soft, because that's kind of the way they've been playing most of the year. So, look at this defense right now. You've got no rush up front to speak of at all. You got a bevy of young DBs, safeties, corners. I like them all. They're good prospects, but they're really young, relative babies. And then you got a beat-up linebacking core. Winters is dinged. Bethune is dangling by a thread. You saw that today. I talked about that this week. He could barely move at practice. Now he's further beat up. Warner's done for the year. Gifford got concussed. I don't know if Shanahan addressed that in the postgame, but it looked like he got concussed on that one play where he took just an absolute rocket shot to the side of the head, and he was on the ground. You could see his eyes kind of rolling around. So they're beat up at linebacker, no rush, super young DBs, right? I mean, this is kind of why guys like me were saying, WTF, why didn't you get some help at the trade deadline? It's because you needed help of any kind. Trey Hendrickson would have been awesome, but guess what? Michael Clemens would have been awesome. Anybody would have been awesome, because they need help, because they really can't move that quarterback off the spot. So I don't know about you guys. As good as Purdy looked, as enthusiastic as I'm feeling about the Niners offense, I'm not feeling any real difference about the 49er defense from last week. Last week they gave up 40 and lost. This week they won, scoring 40 in the process, but their defense ain't stopping anybody. And you've got a really good coordinator. So I don't know. And now you're probably going to have to go hunt for another linebacker, because you're probably going to have to go sign another linebacker off the street. And Nick Martin, all these people are like, Nick Martin sucks. Well, guess what? Nick Martin's going to play, and we're all going to find out.
I need to find a metric. I need to find one metrics that they do well. I'm not quite sure what it is. I said top 15. You're reading numbers that saying that they're in literally the bottom of the NFL, the lower bottom. When I watch them aesthetically, without looking at the numbers, I need to find something that they do well. And I think it's probably tackling. I don't know. I haven't seen those stats. They don't miss near as many tackles as they did last year. Or if they do, there's somebody else there to stop the bleeding. Their back end is not great, and they don't put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But I think the middle of their defense, and I don't have the metrics, but I think there are some things that they do well. And I would say it's probably tackling. I'm not quite sure, though.
What do they do well defensively?
Yeah, it has to be something, because they're competitive. They're just not dominant. I think they tackle pretty well. I don't know what that says in the context of the NFL, though. I don't know.
There are games where they do, for sure, but there are games where they've really struggled tackling. Yeah. I don't see I don't know, Ryan, do you see a strength on this 49er defense? I mean, they've got a bunch of young players who want to fly around. That's what I would say is their positive, is that you got a lot of young athletic bodies who are willing, and it's just a matter of, do they make the right decisions? So I think there's good energy collectively from their defense, even though, there's busts, there's mistakes. I mean,
Right.
Saleh says it, I mean, the Renardo Green thing was a mental mistake, but there's a lot of physical mistakes as well. Right? What do you see with the Niners defense? What do you view as the strength?
I mean, like Bryce Huff.
Yeah.
Bryce Huff for a couple plays a game. No, honestly, it's kind of embarrassing. It's like, it's like third grade, soccer team or something. Like, I think the best thing they can even do is just have effort. That's literally all they can do, is have effort. And there's something for that. Saleh seems like he gets them pretty motivated, but that literally is it. I think if you're just going like roster for roster and even just performance, I think this is pretty squarely a bottom 7 defense in the league.
But I mean,
Maybe
you have
if
to
you're
be able
going,
to measure effort, though, right? Ryan? I mean, somehow,
Yeah.
some way, all these stat folks out there, they have to be able to measure that, because if they don't exhibit effort, then they wouldn't be 7-4. I mean, they won some games based off effort when they made a play or two. I mean, like for instance, punching the ball out of a Karen Williams' hand at the goal line. That's a play that really affects the game. I don't know how you measure that, but I'm thinking that some of these plays that we're talking about has to be measured. Otherwise, the numbers really don't tell the full story, because they're 7-4. I don't know how to do that, but they made plays this year defensively that maybe are a little more nuanced, and we can't just like fundamentally take a look at it. But when I watch them with my eyes, they clearly play better than they did in the past. And to what extent that matters, I really can't quantify it. But it's there.
I mean, that like that specific play, like I just give all that credit to Fred Warner. Like he's so good at punching the ball out. There is something called havoc rating that I know like takes into account, like it's like tackles for loss, obviously interceptions, batted balls. Like it tries to generally just like how much like activity and havoc is your defense causing. I'll look up what their rating is.
We should tell people that the Krueger Show is brought to you all season long by our good friends at Sleeper. That's right. The fastest growing fantasy platform in the world is Sleeper. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, this was our lineup.
We had 3 lineups this week. We were close on hitting all of them. I think one of them didn't hit because Purdy didn't throw a pick. But besides that, this one hit.
So we hit on this one. Was this a 3-fer or was there a 4th?
This was an early in the week 3-fer.
Okay, so we took Brissett over 1.5 touchdowns, and he had 2. McCaffrey, we had over 72.5 rush yards. What did he wind up with? He went over that?
81.
Okay. And then Pinheiro, 2 field goals, 1.5, more than 1.5, and that was a hit. All right, so we bet 5. We won 25-20. I'm a big fan of Sleeper. We've won a bunch this year. So check it out. Once again, use promo code Larry, Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. All right. Let's go ahead, Ryan. You were going to say something?
I was going to say, so yeah, we got sidetracked. We were going to go around and say, is it a success if they just win one playoff game? Or
what's success? I guess,
Bowl?
yeah. How do you define success?
So I would say just success for this team is getting to the playoffs. 100%. I would pose this to you guys, assuming the Bears fall out, because that's going to kind of have to happen for the Niners to get in the playoffs. If the Bears fall out, I mean, if we're talking like they need to win one game for the season to be successful, obviously, I think that's like best case scenario is what I would say. Because tell me if you think any of these teams the Niners should be favored against in the playoffs. Okay. The Green Bay Packers.
I mean, I think the Niners should be favored against the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers right now are a horrible offensive line. They've got terrible chemistry. They've got massive injuries on the receiving core. They're not scoring points. They got totally dominated on offense by the Carolina Panthers. They didn't look good again this week. I don't know. If you'd asked me that question a month ago, I would have said Green Bay is going to be huge favorites, but I think the 49ers would beat Green Bay head to head.
I think the Packers would be 2.5 point favorites.
Yeah. I think
they would be favored too. Yeah, I do think they'd be favored because they'd be
favored. But I think the Niners. I agree, and plus the Niners like juju with just beating the Packers in the playoffs. Okay, but the next one, the Lions.
I think the Lions are going to lose to the Eagles tonight, but I do think the Lions are a really good football team, and I would not be surprised. You know, when I look at the Lions, I see a team that is going to win a Super Bowl, but I don't know when it's going to be. I mean, what's the deal with Laporta? I mean, he didn't play today. Is he out? Is he out?
He's on IR. I'm not sure if he's out for the season, but he's on IR.
I mean, my concern with them is that they lost Ragnow. Their O-line's not as good. The quarterback doesn't move that well. I can give you some of the numbers. They're pretty unbelievable. When Goff is pressured versus when he's not pressured, it's like night and day. I mean,
the Niners have no chance at pressuring Goff.
Yeah, there's no chance of pressuring Goff. So I would say Detroit beats them for sure, and Detroit should be favored. Yeah.
I'll just go through these quickly. Seahawks, I'd say no.
It's a division matchup. It will be there. Brock's never lost there. They're better on the road. They don't have a great home field anymore. They used to have this 12s and the whole thing. Now it'll probably be packed with Niner fans. I think the Niners could beat Seattle in Seattle. I don't believe in Darnold with money on the table. I think his shrivel up when it matters.
Yeah, so like they could. I mean, they could beat all these.
They got a shot.
That's the point. They have a shot, but like they wouldn't be favored over the Seahawks. They wouldn't be favored over the Bucks. They wouldn't be favored over the Eagles, and they wouldn't be favored over the Rams. So I think it's like if they win one game, that's success. You know, that would be an upset in the playoffs in the first round. I really don't think you can expect anything more than that with this defense. I mean, you compare that defense to the rest of those teams, it's insane. So.
Right. They would not be favored over any of these teams. So that alone, they would be on the road, right? I mean, against all those teams. It's going to be in Seattle. It's going to be in Detroit. It's going to be in Philly. It's going to be wherever they're going to play. It's going to be on the road. So yeah, I mean, winning a playoff game on the road is with a defense that's not good would be success. But you said just making it would be success.
Yeah,
and I would agree with that most of the time. But I mean, man, we're really lowering our expectations from the beginning of the year. You did have this loaded team. You did have the easiest schedule known to man, not just statistically this year, but like statistically over the last 15 years or 10 years, whatever it was. It was a long period of time. So I hear you though. I guess my standards are just a little bit higher. I want to see them win that playoff game, but you're right. They're not going to be favored in that game, and just making the playoffs will be viewed by lots of Niner fans as successful. I wonder what Jed thinks, though. Don't you guys? I would love to know how Jed views this. Does he view this as like, hey, man, we rolled over all of our dead cap, and we got through this year, and we still competed, and we made the playoffs, and maybe we even got to the divisional round or whatever. Does he look at that and say, oh, man, that's a success? He probably does. Or is he bottom line oriented? And he's like, dude, we need to win it all, and we're not winning it all, and Lynch has got to go, and Head's got to roll. And, I don't know. I don't know what Jed's standard is. Do you guys think Jed has a high standard or a low standard?
I mean, I think the entire organization has their eye on the beams. They count the beams. I mean, that's pretty clear to me. So, I think the lineage would suggest that they want to win. They like winning. They expect to win, but they do so watching their balance sheet as well. So I think if they made the playoffs and they won quietly, I think that they would view that as a success.
I think the way the Niners are going to be perceived coming into the playoffs, these games matter, these next few games for sure. They're playing bad opponents, but it's the last 3 games of the schedule, man. Like if they roll, I mean, this would be crazy, but if they win the last 3 games of their schedule, the Niners might be favored against teams that are right now at least considered way better than them. So like the final 3 games are Colts, Bears, Seahawks. If the Niners somehow were on a roll and beat all 3 of those teams, that's a pretty impressive resume coming into the playoffs. And I feel like that would, people would think, with Shanahan and his team that they could beat any team, in their way.
Should we hit some supers here? We've got
Sure.
27 supers, and they're starting to. I'm going to jump for a minute or two away to head over to KMBR to give them a 5-minute breakdown, but I will be back. Let's hit some supers, and we can go from there. Shrek, love to see Mac play with weapons back. Well, he handed it off there at the end. Mac Jones is quite the personality. He seemed like he was just having a bunch of barrel laughs at the end. I would have loved to have heard a live mic of Mac Jones at the end of this game. Didn't it seem like he was just telling all kinds of jokes and laughing it up? And I'm sure he walked into the huddle and said, "Guys, I did it." Something like he did something to make everybody laugh, because you could see, man, he was just laughing that entire last series. X-Man 095. Kyle is still with the BS, keeping CMC in the game while having a big lead. All right. I want to see CMC and Purdy come out in big games, like in big lead games like this for sure. DeBig, Brissett with 450 yards passing is a huge problem. McKivitz is 2 trash cans. Oh, okay. We got this one from Paul Glass. Demo. What's that, a chicken? What is that, a turkey?
Duck.
The duck?
I think this guy's an Oregon duck.
Oh, I get you. There we go. Oregon duck. Paul Glass. I like it. Oh, yeah. What should Kev, I should have guessed. He's got the Demo in the Oregon jersey as his avatar. Demo got a pick. And good for Demo, man. He was out there playing hard. He could have sat this one out. They were going to sit him out, and he didn't. He wound up playing. We got this one from PWS. JB sets NFL completion record with 47 completions in the loss. Yeah, we mentioned that. Brissett, unbelievable. We got this one from DeBig. Can't believe Kyle left starters in that long, risking more injuries. Yeah, I mean, Kyle needs to have a quicker get the. I mean, because it's all elation and everything, and it's like, yeah, these guys. I understand Brock doesn't want to come out. CMC doesn't want to come out. You're the head coach. Not them.
Well, the first guy that's got to go has to be CMC. At his age and the mileage that they're using him currently, it makes no sense to not pull him as soon as the game. I mean, you don't even have to bench him. You could just be like, hey, just a drive here, let's just sit him for a drive here. I don't know.
Kev, I'll be right back. You man these.
Yeah.
I'll be.
One thing I wanted to do. The Niners are playing the Panthers next week. I know they do this on Bill Simmons' show. It's Guest the Lines. Should we do a Guest the Lines? I guess, Rye, you can't play, but Guest the Lines, Niners, Panthers. Panthers just coming off the win, right? So where do the Niners, what's the line for Niners, Panthers? Danny, you go first.
You're muted.
I think you're muted.
I'm going to guess, I'm going to guess Niners minus 6.5.
Frank?
I'm going to say Niners 6.5 also. I like that.
Yeah. You can get them at 6.5. I think the line's 7, right, Rye?
Correct. I will say my initial reaction was that's too many points.
Yeah, it is a lot of points.
The Panthers are a good team. Like they're a legitimately good team.
It's also a primetime game. It's pretty interesting. Monday Night Football against the Panthers.
I think
I don't know. I was watching a little
bit this 41-point game today. That's why it's higher. It should be probably about 4.5.
I don't see. I mean, I could see the Panthers scoring on this Niners defense. I mean, that's not even a hot take. But the Panthers are rolling a little bit on the offense. I mean, McMillan looks really good. I mean, I don't know how Dowdle is just this good. I mean, he's playing over Hubbard. I mean, it's just They look good right now. I could see them scoring high.
I think they're going to have no problem. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Niners run D today because we didn't really have to. I mean, they have Zonovan, Bam, Knight back there, but I mean, they pretty much, Brissett threw it 82 times. So, but there was the one that Knight broke for like on the 4th and 1 that the Niners kind of got lucky. They called a kind of an iffy holding call, I think, on the fullback. And that broke like a 70-yarder. They're going to run this Niners team can't stop the run. They're going to run all over the Niners. And I just don't really have a gauge of like how good Carolina's defense is. It seems to be pretty dang good. And their offensive line is awesome. Bryce Young only throws the ball 5 yards down the field ever. But I think it's going to be a game.
Let me ask you guys a question here, because the Niners, I mentioned it earlier, they're not a great team come from behind generally. They did against the Lions in the playoffs a couple years ago. But we see them when they get 2 scores down, they generally get taken out of their game. Do you think what we saw today, them getting up early, they had the opening kickoff and they basically are up 7-0. Do you think if they win the coin toss, I guess they don't really get a chance when they're home because it's not their call. But do you think they should take the ball instead of deferring so they get that? Kyle likes to try and get that back-to-back where he can score at the end of the first half and then get the ball in the second half and score again. Do you think it's better for them to try and march down and get up 7-0 to start the game instead of maybe being behind, with their defense being as kind of Swiss cheese as it is?
I don't think so.
I think there's some. Sorry, go Frank.
No. I just think they should defer because I don't think there's any tricks. I think it's really, really competitive. I think all the teams they play, they can beat and they can lose to. So, I like putting the defense on notice and having them play beyond their potential. That's just my opinion on it.
I just think there's an inherent value in just knowing what you got to get. Like if you just play the game differently when you know what the team's already scored. And obviously Kyle loves that double dip when they score going into half and then get the ball back. And it works. I mean, it works. I think that, there's things that have to go right for you to win. And like in this case, the Niners getting the ball definitely helped. I mean, you basically got an immediate touchdown, and then the Cardinals punt the ball back, and the Niners punt the ball back, but then they eventually go up 2 scores. And it's hard to win when you're down 2 scores in the NFL, especially when you're going toe to toe on some of these drives. And the Niners, the interceptions, there's just less room for error. And that's why the Niners last week, when Juwan fumbled and the Rams went up 3 scores, it's ball game, because you just can't overcome that many points.
Right. They really, if you look at last week's game, they were really played them head to head, except for the fumble and then not getting it 4th and 1 from the 12-yard line when CMC runs, horizontal instead of vertical. They get those 2 scores. They're equal with the Rams, Yeah.
They had no problem with the Rams. Offensively, they were going toe to toe, which is, again, in some ways it's even more impressive when you see like the Rams defense today, but the Rams got super duper lucky again today. They had 2 insane 4th and 1s they converted that immediately led to touchdowns. Plus they had the 4 Darnold picks, and like they barely held on. Not to just completely look ahead but I'm calling my shot right now. Brock Purdy is not going to play well versus Cleveland. Ultimately, Shedeur is so bad. I don't think Shedeur is going to be starting by then, because I think it's a concussion for Gabriel. Yeah, but either way, I was just thinking about it. That's going to be, I'm imagining it's going to be cold. It's going to be weather. It's probably going to be a huge spread. And the Browns at home are, a weird fact about the Browns is that over the past 3 seasons, their defense is awesome, but they're allowing 30 points per game on the road. So at home, like they're monsters. And it's like Jim Schwartz has
Yeah.
Kyle's number. I'm pretty worried about that. I mean, they sacked, I think Myles Garrett had 4 sacks today on Lamar Jackson. That game scares me.
I think the
I could
worst
see that.
the worst game of Purdy's career, or like the first bad game of Purdy's career, was that Browns game in 23, where they lost in I think it was a missed Jake Moody field goal at the end, right?
Right.
Yep.
Pulling up, he had a 55.3 passer rating and 125 yards passing. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I remember that was a late game interception, I think. Took 3 sacks. It was a raining game, and that's when the whole can Brock throw with the wet ball?
Yeah, rain gate.
Rain gate, whatever you want to call it, came up. But I mean, I agree with you, right? I mean, they're going to give him trouble. Myles Garrett is playing like the best defensive lineman I've ever watched in my entire life right now. The guy's ridiculous. He's ridiculous, and I just can't imagine what he's going to do to this Niner offensive line. And they have a great defense. Like the Browns are a shit team, but they have a really solid defense. I could see that. I agree with you. I could see that game getting out of hand.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit. It's just like it's setting up for that to be such a narrative game coming out. So they better take care of business versus the Panthers. 7 though seems very high. I just don't think this Niners team, outside of Tennessee, should be laying 7 points to anybody.
Yeah,
I just don't think I don't think their defense is good enough. Offensively, they're there, but
yeah, no, that's a lot. I mean, I want to check to see what the Niners lines are for the next few games, because it is going to be interesting to see, like, what are they against the Browns? Is that line already out or no?
And like, do the Niners, like, if we're talking just like, all right, let's just like get into delusional mode, like, what is the actual best case scenario of their season? The truly best case scenario of their season is for the Niners to win the division.
Yeah, they'd have
It's
to win
still
out. I think they'd have to win
possible.
out, though, don't you think, Ryan? To win the division.
The Rams play in Seattle at some point, so the Rams are going to lose one. The Rams
have only lost 2.
The Rams have only lost 2, but if they lose versus Seattle, then they've lost 3.
Right.
And then I'm assuming they're going to drop a couple games down the stretch. And
let me look at the Rams schedule here.
Look at the Rams schedule. And then, I mean, the Niners are going to have, if the Niners beat the Seahawks, then they've only lost 1 in division. I actually saw last week the Niners to win the division and was 10-1.
Okay, the Rams, 6 games remaining. They've got at home next week to Tampa, and then the following week they're in Carolina. Then they're at Arizona. Then they got the Lions at home, and then they've got the Seahawks on the road, and they finish in Atlanta. So I could see a loss.
They could lose 3 of those.
They could lose to the Bucs. The Bucs have lost 2 in a row
100%.
and need to win.
Sunday Night Football, they could lose to the Bucs. They could lose at Panthers. They could lose to the Lions, lose to the Seahawks. I mean, I don't know. The Falcons are so schizophrenic. I mean, one week they beat the Bills, then they get blown out by the Panthers, then they look kind of good versus the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a really interesting playoff race, because I can't remember. I mean, there's a lot of good teams here. Like, it's going to be really close.
I don't
and
see
it's
the
not
Rams
like the AFC
losing more than 5. I think the Rams' worst case is 12-5.
Okay.
Yeah, the AFC is already kind of shaping out. Like, you got the Patriots and the Bills. The Patriots look like they have the edge there. The Bills are going to get through the playoffs. This AFC North is going to be up for grabs between the Ravens and the Steelers. The Colts are going to win their division likely. The Broncos are probably now, with the win over the Chiefs, for sure going to win their division unless they kind of fall off. And then the Chargers will make it. And then, I don't know, the Chiefs, it'll be close there.
I mean, the Jaguars are like another just schizo team that, like, I mean, who knows? Like, they just beat the hell out of the Chargers today. The Texans are like kind of they seem like they're horrible, but they keep winning with Davis Mills if Stroud ever comes back. And then the Ravens.
I was going to say the Ravens.
Yeah.
How about if they win their division? They started 1-5. They're 5-5 now.
I mean, they're favored to win the division like minus 200.
Yeah, and next week they got the Jets at home, so they should be 6-5. Then they've got the Bengals at home, and then they've got the Steelers. They got 3 straight home games.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't look good today. They looked horrible.
Yeah,
they got pretty lucky to win that game.
And then they got at Cincinnati, home against the Patriots, and then at Green Bay and at Pittsburgh to finish it up. So they've got
and not to be like kind of like a complaining weenie, because obviously there's a lot of factors into the Niners schedule, but it is like the Niners schedule is not as easy as we all thought it was going to be coming into the year. Because every year it's like I want to throw up whenever I'm watching any games involving the NFC South or AFC South. But this year, the AFC South and NFC South have both been pretty good. I mean, the Panthers are solid. The Bucks are like, they could, if they win out or, if they go on a run, they could make the Super Bowl. The Falcons are not a bad team. And then you go to the AFC South, it's like the Colts are kind of a wagon. The Jags are schizophrenic and can win any game. Texans, I mean, obviously they beat the Niners. So.
Well, so I'm back in the room now. What are you guys discussing?
Just looking at the playoffs here, the NFC, it's going to be a tight finish. I mean, Eagles are going to win their division. The Bears, the Lions, Packers, that's going to be up for grabs. But then two of the teams that don't win there are probably going to be in the discussion for wild card. Bucks probably win their division. Maybe the Panthers pull an upset, and then you have the NFC West, which is another good 3 teams. So that between the NFC West and the NFC North, there's 6 playoff teams. You know what I mean? Like now that the Bears are in the mix because they've won all these close games and they're 7-3, like there's 6 teams right here out of 8 total teams that can make the playoffs.
The Niners are like minus 380, I think I saw, to make the playoffs, which is kind of wild considering they're on the outside looking in, and like all it would take is like a loss to the Panthers or a loss to the Bears, and they're out.
They do have quite a favorable schedule, but I hear what you're saying. It's a very tight playoff picture. I mean, Adam Kaplan was on KMBR this week, and he said, I think for the first time ever, every single team that makes the playoffs has a legitimate and reasonable argument that they could win it all. Just looking at the field this year. I don't know if I would agree with that or not, but
probably except for the Niners.
Yeah. I mean, the Niners defense, to me, just takes them out of it. I mean, I'll say this, Robert Saleh, though, was saying, hey, man, we got a young group of talented defenders, and, the goal is to have them peaking in January. Well, I mean, if he can get them to improve a lot between now and then, man, Robert Saleh is probably going to be, if this defense can improve enough between now and January to win playoff games in January, Robert Saleh is probably going to be a head coach somewhere next year.
Yeah. Speaking of defense and injury, what's the injury report? Did Kyle say anything? I know what Bethune didn't come back. Is that an ankle?
Let me see if I can find that for you. Bethune had an ankle all week, and he's been banged up with 3 or 4 different injuries. Let me see if I can find anything on there on Shanahan's post-game speech. Maybe we could play some of that. But yeah, I mean, it's out of, you're talking about a 49er team that, the one thing about it is it's like it's offense and defense. The more offense you play, the less defense you got to play, right? The more points you score, the less points it's not that big a deal if you allow some points. I guess the question is this is a very good offense. I mean, Brock Purdy's a very good quarterback. George Kittle's a Hall of Famer. Trent Williams a Hall of Famer. Christian McCaffrey's a Hall of Famer. I mean, these guys are Hall of Fame type players. And there's other talents on this roster beyond those guys. How good can this offense be? How how explosive can they get? If they're scoring 20 points a game, yeah, they got very little chance. But if they're scoring 30 points a game, now they got more of a chance. And if they're scoring 35 a game, now they got more of a chance. So I guess that's the question. We know the defense is only going to get marginally better. It's going to be, it's going to be held together with duct tape and baling wire. I mean, it's never going to be great. But can the offense be great, and can the offense carry a defense this poorly through the NFC playoffs? I don't know.
Now, Larry, earlier I said the Niners were playoff contenders and Super Bowl pretenders. The only way that the Niners can actually get to the Super Bowl this year, in my opinion, is if they get into, they have to kind of be like a shootout, like the Bills play when they didn't have, they played the Chiefs, or they played even Tampa today. It was kind of a shootout back and forth until late when the Bills pulled away. And that's going to involve Kyle being more aggressive and not being too conservative. He's going to have to say, okay, it's 4th and 4. I'm at, midfield and I'm down a score. I'm going to have to go for it. That's how they're going to be able to, only way they can get there is outscoring somebody. I don't see any other way that the Niners get to the Super Bowl unless Kyle just opens it up and starts playing with some, just a different mindset. Like I may not have the defense this year to stop my opponent, so I am going to run it up.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, that was kind of the game plan versus the Rams. Even today, they stopped throwing downfield.
The Tatum Bethune, Raj put this out. Tatum Bethune was seen with a brace on his ankle, was given a ride to the team bus. He'll undergo tests to determine if he has a high ankle sprain. If he's got a high ankle sprain, he's out a month. Oh, that would be bad. That would be bad. All right. How many of these supers did we get through here?
None.
About 4.
None. I waited for you to get back to finish it.
Okay, so let's just roll through these, and then we've already been going for almost 90 minutes. We'll get through these supers, and we'll go with our game balls. Okay, let's just go right from the top. We had this one. Love to see Mac play. Okay, which one?
We're here.
Demo.
Oh no,
here. Okay, SRT. CMC stat padding. Brock Purdy had 2 horrible dropped interceptions. Niners had 0 sacks, up 41-16. Brissett with what is that? 50 plus attempts. # glass half empty. Well, I mean,
that's the crazy thing. You had 50 chances to sack Brissett today, and you never did.
I know. I mean, it's and he's not a hard guy to sack. He's been sacked a lot. Sells surprise face. Defense still sucks. Brissett had a career day. Well, I mean, that's true. Jalen LeGrant. Shaking my head. The only subs Kyle knows is Jimmy John's. Why the hell were CMC and Purdy even in the game? Also, geez, that slide Brock had, I thought his toe came off. Yeah, I was sitting there when that last drive. I'm like, you're up 19, bro. Get these guys out of here. Akeem the Dream. Purdy must be pulled aside by management in the offseason and told to take a pay cut to add resources toward the rest of the roster. If he refuses, trade him or tax the cap or take the cap hit at once. Purdy isn't good enough for $50 million. Is anybody saying that about Trevor Lawrence? Is anybody saying that about Tua Tagovailoa? Is anybody?
He's not 100%. He's not 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, he's getting. To me, the contract is a big nothing burger. He's getting. This is what NFL quarterbacks make. He's perfectly slotted. Should he? He's the 9th highest paid quarterback. If you said to me, where does Brock Purdy rank? I would say he ranks somewhere between 9 and 15. 9 on a good day, 15 on a bad day. That's probably his neighborhood. The fact that he's the 9th highest paid guy when the contract signed, which means that it's gonna, others contracts will be signed.
If every
quarterback will go down, right?
If every quarterback was signed last offseason, Purdy wouldn't be. He'd be probably 15th.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's not
and if you actually, I don't know how many people just like in here to just are locked into the Niners game versus like watching all the games. Today was some of the worst QB, and this is really a couple week thing. It was some of the worst QB play I've ever seen. Like that, some of the games came down to the end in the first, 10 a.m. games, so ended up kind of being saved, but just terrible. McCarthy, terrible. Caleb, terrible. Even Mahomes was terrible today. Bo Nix, bad. Just all across the board, just so bad. And with that in mind,
go ahead.
Yeah, with that in mind, it's like, God, I mean, the amount of teams that would like kill for Mac Jones, like the Vikings should try and trade the Niners like a 2nd-round pick for Mac Jones. Like it's that bad.
That's another thing we don't really talk about. It's a real value. I'm watching Lions-Eagles right now. It's 3-0 Philly. Jared Goff's a pretty good player. I think he's emerged as a really nice player. Now, but he doesn't have mobility, and he doesn't have Frank Ragnow, and their backup quarterback, some guy named Kyle Allen. So, I mean, if Goff goes down, it is game, set, match. It's over for Detroit.
Same for the Rams.
If Purdy goes down, it's game. It's not game over for the Niners. Right. So in some ways, I kind of feel like the Niners, that right there is a huge thing to have 2 guys that you can win games with as opposed to 1. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in a league where quarterbacks seem like they go down, and I agree with you, Rye. I think the quarterback play across the league leaves a lot to be desired. And you got 2 guys who can process and run your offense. And I'll tell you the other thing that's really weird is that usually if you have the old saying, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you really have none. But it's rare that 2 quarterbacks can lead in the same room and not butt heads. And yet that's what's happened this year. They've found a way. Brock leads and Mac leads, and both guys have guys, willing to follow. And yet there's not a fracture. And that right there is amazing, really.
It's been a really bad year, like Rye said, for QBs. We all play fantasy, and it's like 12 points is easy to get for a quarterback. And I've never seen so many single-digit games out of a quarterback.
That's a good fantasy point.
The Biggs is down now. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
got around and say that they're better defenses than there were in the past.
Could be.
I mean,
I'm not even really sure what it is. I mean, I Kev, what do you think? I mean, you're always the smartest guy in the room. What do you think? I mean, do you think that we're seeing? Why are we seeing bad quarterback play? As Frank said, do you think it's the evolution or the improvement of the defenses they're going against? We know all the rules changes every year favor offense more and more. So it's kind of counterintuitive that the quarterbacks would struggle as time goes on. But what do you think, Kev?
It's the hardest position in sports. Okay. It's the lowest success rate out of any position, in terms of like percentage of people coming into the league having success. I mean, it's just like and also I think the bar is set really high for quarterbacks, where it's like success means that your team's winning and you're always very consistently good and you never really make mistakes. It's just a hard position, and the expectations are so high. And I mean, the defenses are getting better. Despite all the rules favoring quarterbacks, it's just all those things. It's just a hard position to play, and you have to make so many decisions and you have to be so perfect.
It seems to me like it's just maybe they've never been the style of offenses that are being played in college football makes it so it probably from high school to 7-on-7 to college. Like the thing is, there's like these quarterbacks, they've thrown a zillion times more passes than all the other guys 15 years ago did growing up. Like it's just facts. It's kind of like AAU. They've thrown a zillion passes, and they get to college, and for the most part, it's like spread offenses. You're never under center. You don't really have to do much processing. And it just doesn't seem like any of these guys. It's just there's been so many misses in the draft. I mean, Cam Ward, like luckily he's in Tennessee, who no one cares about. I mean, the guy just looks terrible.
Well, it's a lot of it, I think, is about the unspoken part of it is we look at these quarterbacks and the stats, but it's the relative pass rush. If you have pass rush,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, I'm looking at Josh Allen's game log. He's got games this year where he's had, 3 touchdowns, but he's also had games this year where he's had, multiple interceptions. And I'm looking at the sacks, those games where he had multiple interceptions. I'm seeing 3 sacks, 4 sacks, 3 sacks. So I think it really has a big impact on how much you can move that quarterback. Guess who is? I'll give you guys one guess. Guess who is the least sacked quarterback in the NFL entering Week 11? Go ahead.
Mac Jones.
No, that's played. I mean, maybe it could be Mac Jones for the number of games he played. But I mean, a full-time guy, it's Stafford.
I was going to say that.
It's Stafford. Stafford's not getting sacked, and Stafford's having an MVP year. And those things are related. Absolutely. DeBig says, when is Nick Martin going to get more playing time? Yeah, if you're in the Nick Martin sucks camp, you're not having a good day. He played very few snaps, and he had 7 tackles, 5 solo. I mean, it's like, and Robert Saleh told somebody on the broadcast, this guy's going to be really good. There's a lot of people out there going, Nick Martin's garbage. I might want to bury that take. SRT.
No, he's still gonna make mistakes. So I could. There's gonna be a game. If he
garbage.
Plays more,
too athletic, too smart, too fast, too everything.
Yeah, but there's gonna be some games here where like he's gonna make some mistakes. He's young. He's inexperienced. But I agree. Sure. He's a great player. I think he's gonna be a great player. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised that if there's a game here where someone's gonna come bite him back at you because he misses a few tackles, doesn't wrap up or something like that.
Well, you saw what I saw last week, Saleh saw what I saw last week. And I was going to ask the question of Saleh, but I was like, God, there's no way to ask this without being argumentative, because Gifford got absolutely roasted and toasted last week in coverage. I was going to say to him, hey, Robert, do you guys have anybody better? But I mean, it's just, I know that he saw what I saw. And I wanted to wait to see if he would put him in there. Sure enough, they benched Gifford. He played on special teams only. They played Nick Martin over Gifford. And that's what should have happened before. Now, Robert said, hey, look, it's a learning experience. We like this kid. He's going to be really good, but he's not there yet. And so they're bringing him along. But I think you got a glimpse. He's too fast, too athletic, too instinctive, too productive to not put out there. You're talking about a guy who's 230 pounds. He runs in the 4.5s. I mean, come on, you got to get that guy out there.
Saw him out there today. He looks more like a strong safety than a linebacker.
Oh, I know. He's undersized. SRT said, if BP isn't going to scramble, what does he do better than Mac? What he does is he processes at the line of scrimmage better, and he can get the ball out to his weapons. I think he can audible more. I think he knows the offense better, every aspect of it. I think he's just mentally ahead of Brock of Mac in that regard. But yeah, I mean, Mac Jones has got a good arm. Mac Jones is accurate. Mac Jones can process. Mac Jones does a lot of good things. So that's I think people are starting to see the value of Jones. Kyle Thompson, I do not see the 49ers as a contender either way with this defense. I think that's fair. We got this one. John Kalua. When plays break down, Mac looks for the check down. Brock looks for the end zone, regardless of down and distance. Not getting too high. Arizona is trash. Yeah, Arizona played so bad. They just weren't ready to go. And as I said, what do you guys think? I mean, it's the kind of performance that gets a coach fired. I don't think Gannon's going to be fired. Do you guys think Gannon's going to be fired?
No, I don't think so. I think a player or two could, I mean, maybe not be cut at this point because you need bodies, but maybe be inactive next week because, I mean, you build your football team and any teams based on discipline and fundamentals. And 17 penalties, I mean, that would be alarming to me. It's just too many.
Well, I could see him getting fired if he finishes 3-14. I mean, or 4-13 if they win one more game and that's it.
He just got there. What is this? Is this
this is year 3?
Yeah.
Is it? I thought it was year 2. It's year 3?
I think it's 3.
Maybe then. 49er fan 57 says nose wipe gang sign NFL banned according to Yahoo. That was the McBride thing. I guess he did some kind of nose wipe thing. Okay. I don't know. Come on, guys. Seriously.
It's like some young thug thing, I think.
Come on.
Yeah, they kept saying the NFL wants to get rid of these types of hand gestures and celebrations. I was like, I'd never heard of it. He just did something like, I don't know what that means.
I know they wanted to get rid of the throat slit, thing, which that I get. But even so, we're talking about celebrations. My God, you can be put in a wheelchair for the rest of your life playing this sport, and we're going to sit there and judge these guys' celebrations. I mean, it's just asinine. It seems so wrong. Mike Miller says Brissett threw the ball almost 60 times, and the 49ers only forced 10 incompletions. Historical completions allowed. Yeah, no, I mean, it's the 49ers coverage is soft, and their pass rush is non-existent. And they won today because the Cardinals are a really bad football team that played a really bad game, and the Niners got off to a great start. The other thing with the Niners are like that racehorse that there are horses like this that they have to get off to the lead. If they're in the lead, they go wire to wire. Some horses, they see other horses and then they want to run. Other horses see other horses and they just don't want to run. So there are horses that just literally, they're called wire to wire jobs. You just, they're going to go out there with the sprinters and they're going to try to hold on. That's their race. They can't rate, as they say. And the 49ers are that kind of a horse as far as a football team. They have to play with the lead. They're not a play from behind team. They have to play action and everything that goes with it. Or they can't. You see it. They fall behind, they're cooked. Ernberg says, great first game back for Brock Purdy with some ups and downs. Seems to be more Brock fans than actual 49er fans. Love you, Krug. Best one to do it. Thank you, Ernberg. That's a very positive comment from you, though. I'm really almost unfamiliar. Nathan McFadden, the sack on Purdy looked like it might have aggravated his foot. Yikes. Otherwise, a great game, getting back in rhythm. Bring on Carolina. Did he wince after that? I didn't see that on the sack.
I didn't see it.
He slid down, right? He wasn't contorted or thrown down.
You're talking about the sack on the 2-point conversion?
I think so.
Or whatever.
There was only one other sack, right? Let me see.
It was a 2-point conversion, right? When he got sacked at the 20-yard line. I didn't see him get landed on. He just seemed like he slid down before any contact.
Bill Kennedy says more run could be NFL record longest return, no touchdown. Oh, yeah. 98 yards without scoring. Tommy Colby. Come on, Larry. He had a 133.5 rating. What do you mean, come on, Larry? Was I being too critical of Brock? All I said was that he had a couple throws that showed that his arm strength is a little sketchy and that he looked a little sore when he ran.
The rating doesn't measure the ball speed. It looks at completions, and those balls aren't gonna. He keeps throwing balls like that. Guys are either going to get very hurt, or those balls are going to be picked off against a good team.
Yeah, I mean we all saw it. Sell's surprise face. With our shitty defense, we are getting lit up by the Panthers, just like the Rams game. You guys I haven't watched a lot of Panther ball this year. Are the Panthers going to light us up next week, Kev?
No.
Define light up,
Light up. I think
light up.
The defense they could definitely score some points. I think the Niners are going to be able to score too, but
it could be a game like Atlanta's today, which was 30-27. I think Carolina won or something like that in overtime. It's probably going to be a similar type game in the 30s for both teams.
Well, it's going to be at Levi's, so that's the advantage. Now, John Lewis says Purdy never had a big arm or a lot of zip on throws. His processing, anticipation, and legs overcomes it. Mac Jones is messing with people's optics. Okay, it's an interesting comment. Ryan Alloy drops this one. Larry, come on. That would mean beating Detroit, Philly, LA, Seattle on the road in the playoffs. With all due respect, this ain't the year or the team. I hear you. Because that was my standard for success. Well, I mean, you're the 49ers. You had the easiest schedule. You have all these Hall of Famers. I mean, you've got a veteran offense that can score points. Almost every single guy in this team, for the most part, except for the rookies, have been to like a Super Bowl. I mean, it's like you have experience that other teams don't have. I hear you, though. I hear you. Basically, I'm saying if they don't beat Seattle in Seattle, if they don't beat the Rams in LA, if they don't beat Philly in Philly, if they don't beat Detroit in Detroit, that I don't consider it a success. And I understand that's a high bar. I do. I hear what you're saying. But to me, I'm just telling you how I feel. To me, there'll be like some people will think it's a success if they make the playoffs. Some people won't. Everybody, universal, across the board, successful season if they go to the playoffs and win a game. That's all I was saying. OUB. Wait, do we get that one? Oh, we got this one. OU 812. Can we get a shout out for the MVP play of my man Sam Darnold in his 4 picks today? 4 ghosts for 4 picks. Oh man. I didn't see any of that. I taped the red zone, so I'm gonna watch some of that later on. Calba Camiga, what's up, Calba? Success to me this year is the young guys showing progress. I know this is subjective. They're cutting their teeth out there right now, but time and experience will be their friend next year. Okay, that's Calba. I think you're too reasonable for us. OU says make the dance, chip in a chair, homies. Chip in a chair. What's a chair? Am I missing something? What's a chair?
Chip in a chair?
I don't know.
Chip in a chair. Mark Diembra. Divisional win. Let's not get too excited. Okay. Pump the brakes. Don't be excited. Some people are saying be more excited. Other people saying not be excited. Harry Johnson. McKivitz simply can't block speed rushers. Yeah, he has struggled. It's a tough job, but he has struggled at times. Bill Kennedy, did you see Eddie stub his toe? TV said he took dirt. I didn't see Eddie stub the toe, but obviously it must have been bad enough for him to not have to kick because they went to the 2-point conversion and then Morstead kicked at the end. Anthony Catania's in the house. And, of course, Anthony's one of our sponsors, Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, is paying your shipping between now and the end of the year on anything that you order. Anthony's at 831-521-5264. He's down at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove. He says, great win. Love the show. Any word on Eddie? I hear Moody is available. Anthony, get us going on Moody's available.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine that? Moody's back.
We got Moody back for a couple of games.
There'd be some people. There would be some
him.
People that would be like, "This is such a great redemption story." It's like, no, it's not.
Why'd you take Moody? Well, we're still paying his salary, so we figured he's free.
Right. Sells surprise face. Jed is so greedy they won't target Bourne, only needing 18 yards for his $500,000 bonus. Oh my God! I hope that's not the case. Harry Johnson, good to see Martin in the base defense. His speed shows. There's no question. That guy's too athletic to not get out there. Sells surprise face. I remember when Stafford was mid back in the 2010s. You know what it is? He used to throw picks. He used to turn it over. He doesn't turn it over anymore. Now he throws it into the ground and goes on to the next down. The guy's like a real pro. He's probably playing better than he ever has. NBA Elias. Larry, what practice squad linebacker will the 49ers sign this week if Tatum Bethune is out long term? The guy that I would sign is Chandler Martin from the Ravens, who was really good at Memphis, and that's the guy I'd go after. I also really like Eugene Asante or Chris Paul. Chris Paul he's on Seattle's practice squad. Any of those 3 guys would be nice. Chandler Martin, Eugene Asante, Chris Paul. Harry Johnson, McBride is a gang member. His moms don't approve. I think he's that he's trying to say that I believe McBride is the first NFL player on record who was raised by 2 moms. Harry Johnson, Purdy has nice balls. Love him. Thank you, Harry Johnson. Joseph Ernberg, Panthers going to light up this team of bums, 38-12. Wow, Ernberg, that's even negative for Ernberg. And Terrence Sullivan, Purdy got tired later in the game. It looked like it. It absolutely looked like it. All right, that does it for the supers. Thanks to Habbas Law. We should give our final points here. We're brought to you by our friends at Habbas Law, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. I love Habbas Law. Big sponsors of the Krug Show, and we're really proud to be associated with Habbas Law. As I said, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. What I really love about Habbas is that they are very much rooted in our community, and they're just doing a lot of really cool things. And to me, I'm all about that. We need, as the Beatles once sung, Rye, the Beatles were a band, by the way. You get by with a little help from your friends. And the holidays are about warmth, connection, and home. But for too many people in the Bay Area, food and shelter are not guaranteed. So 1 in 3 people struggle to afford food. Thousands live without shelter, families in crisis, kids going to bed hungry. It's a really rough situation and a rough time of year for a lot of families. So the faithful always show up when it matters most, and our community needs that same heart. This November, throughout the month of November, join Habbas Law supporting Martha's Kitchen, serving 200,000 meals every month to people who need hope. This is why I love Habbas Law. They're very rooted in the community, and they care very much. He says, let's feed more than ourselves in Northern California. And of course that extends to people watching on YouTube across the country or across the world. So visit marthas-kitchen.org and you can donate today. Just as it sounds, Marthas, MARTHAS dash in the middle kitchen.org, and you can donate today. Once again, Habbas Law, always fighting to make it right. Awesome people, awesome law firm. 1-800-INJURED. HabbasLaw.com on the web, HABBAS law.com. I'm really proud to be associated with these guys because of these types of initiatives that they're involved with. So thanks to Habbas Law for being rooted right here in the community. All right, let's go game ball right here. We'll finish up. Danny, we'll start with you. Who gets your game ball?
Oh, I get the first pick. I'll take George Kittle. 6 targets, 6 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and 67 yards. 30 was the long, beautiful catch that Purdy, that throw kind of wasn't an easy catch, even though it was kind of right there. It was just looked like he had to kind of turn back and catch it with his hands. George Kittle, man, he played a great game today.
That's a great one. Rye, who gets your game ball?
I'm going to cheat a little bit and just take the special teams. We haven't had anything to cheer about with the special teams all year.
Seriously.
All year. It seems like it's been multiple years. They had 2 great returns. It's kind of crazy to say, but honestly, that kickoff to start the game down to the 2 might have just cinched the game. Like, pretty much. It felt like the game was in hand after they got that early touchdown. And then how about Alfred Collins? I mean, look, the result wasn't great because the ball went in, but how about just getting a hand on a freaking field goal or extra point? I mean, people do it all over the league. The Niners never do it. So it's just good to see some activity going on there. And then good on Eddie Peen for just, he did miss 2-point afters, but he was nails from deep on field goals. And it sucks, but it seems like he has a pulled hamstring. So
is Sky Moore the conductor of the leader of the band for the special teams as your leader today?
I think he would have to be.
He was the Arthur Fiedler, Danny. There you go. He was the Arthur Fiedler of the 49ers band. Great conductor, Arthur Fiedler, Boston Pops. Yeah. Look it up. Kev, who gets your game ball?
Yeah, I mean, this one's a easy one for me. I'll give it to Purdy in the game back. The worst thing we could have seen today was Brock Purdy not play well. After Mac Jones looking as good as he did, it would have been a really odd thing for Purdy to come back against a worse team and struggle. But I mean, 133.5 passer rating. I know he had 2 questionable balls, but it wouldn't have mattered in this game. The truth of the matter is that they won the game. They won the game, and Purdy threw for 200 yards, three TDs. The ball he threw to Kittle in the back of the end zone on the outside release go route from Kittle, I think on Davis Gaither. Just a beautiful ball. Just a beautiful, beautiful ball. And it's just, that's what you see from Purdy. I mean, he just throws dimes sometimes. I mean, he's a gunslinger. He'll make a couple throws that leaves you scratching your head, but sometimes the ball just looks so beautiful coming out of his hands. And seeing that again from him, gives me hope. And I've been saying this since last week. The 49ers offense, I think, can hang with anyone. And so the offense isn't going to be the thing that holds them up, but game ball going to Purdy, coming back in his hometown and looking sharp.
Great call. I'm going to go off the menu here. Anybody who knows me knows, before I got into radio, I worked in the Canadian Football League. I worked in the NFL with the Cardinals, but I worked before that in the Canadian League. And I've always had kind of a special feeling for the guys who are on the kind of perimeter of the NFL, who are really fighting and clawing for a career. And Curtis Robinson is the guy I want to give my game ball to. 12 tackles today, 5 solo. This guy needs to be shouted out. I mean, this is a tremendous guy. I've talked to him. He's from Mater Dei in Santa Ana. He went to Stanford, undrafted free agent in the 2021 draft. Was a good player at Stanford, played at Stanford for 5 seasons and had a good career, and he's a self-made player. He's athletic, and he's been gifted that way, but he's really worked at it as well. And this guy was on the verge of a real breakout in 2024. And he had a fantastic camp, was having a great preseason, and then he suffers a torn ACL in practice on September 27th. I mean, literally the season was just underway. But instead of like packing it in, going home, pouting, this guy said, you know what? I'm going to give myself to the community. He became the Niners Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year nominee because both of his parents are educators. He's so much about education and giving back. And he's just got a great perspective, and he's just a great human being. But then he's still a really good player. And, he's been battling. He got back. He's very popular in the room with the players. He's very much a leader. And to step in and, this is his first real go-round, 12 tackles when the team needed him most in a big win. So happy for Curtis Robinson. So I'm going to say Curtis Robinson. That's a great performance from Curtis. All right, that is going to do it for us, but we do have one more super here, and it's from Boxing Fan ×4. He says, can Spencer Fano play left tackle in the NFL, or what offensive tackle do you lean to? Spencer Fano plays at Utah. He's probably considered the best tackle in this draft. He's probably going to go in the top 10. He's 6'8", about 300 pounds. He's a little on the thin side. And so, he's going to go in the top 5, top 10 for sure. So I don't think the 49ers are going to have a chance at him. As far as who's the offensive tackle that I like in this draft, I'm going to share the screen and show you this guy. This is the Notre Dame junior. His name's Emil Wagner, and he's from Yellow Springs, Ohio, went to Wayne High School. He's a redshirt junior, 6'6", 300 pounds, great athlete, well coached, smart as heck. This is the guy. Now, I don't know if he's coming out. He's a redshirt junior, so he can come out and be in the 2026 draft class. This is the guy that's the guy I'd target right there, Emil Wagner. So you can check him out for yourself. But he's big time at Notre Dame.
I got some bad news for us. I just pulled up a random mock draft. I'm looking at CBS. Who knows if they're decent or not? But they have the first tackle coming off the board at 8. Dude out of Miami, Mauigoa. Mauigoa. And then they have Fano going 9. So 8 and 9. The Niners cannot take them. But you know what team could?
The Rams?
It's the Los Angeles Rams, who currently sit with the 8th pick in the draft.
So a lot of talk. The Rams are going to be looking for a quarterback to replace Stafford. So that's another angle. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check out our meet and greet December 7th. You're all invited. We'd love to see you there. We'll be at Pig and a Pickle in Corte Madera during the bye week. I'll be watching some football, eating some barbecue, and hanging out. Please stop by, say hello, order some barbecue, just hang out, have a beer, have a root beer, and just watch some ball and support the Krug Show. And we'll do that December 7th, so don't miss that. Also, thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, always a proud sponsor of the Krug Show, and Habbas Law as well. Guys, great to see you. Why don't we get a little plug for everything that you guys do on the way out the door? Danny, I just saw you. My kid walked in the other night, and you're sitting there having a really long, detailed conversation with two guys about the Giants coaching staff. I was like, can we get to a player, for crying out loud? But I was yelling at my laptop. When you're not talking about the Giants and the minutia connected to the Giants, what else are you doing? Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, NorCal Sports Network. By the way, we did have Casey Schmidt on last Wednesday night.
Nice.
Casey was on. He was a good guy. Yeah,
he's a great dude. Love Casey.
Yeah, so that was nice. So check that out. That was last Wednesday night. We'll be on again tomorrow night, 8:30 California time, Pacific time. So 9:30 here in Arizona. Man, I got to stay up later now to start these shows. With the NBA games ending, baseball
fans aging, older and older, you may want to start thinking about maybe the early bird.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta put in a little dig here. Just watching this Lions game and Philly. Dan Campbell has gone for it. First, he went for it 4th and 1 on his side, wrong side of the 50, didn't get it, and then he held them, and they got the ball back, and he got to 4th and 2 on his own 48 again.
He went for it?
No, he fake punted. The guy does not know how to just give up the ball. He just will not give up. And the Eagles stopped him. So twice the guy has gone for it. I think his playbook says if it's less than 4th and 5, you go for it unless you're inside your own 20.
Unbelievable.
Dan Campbell he gave the Niners that game in the NFC Championship.
Yes, he did. Danny, great to see you, man. Have a fantastic night. Thanks for jumping in.
All right. Thanks, guys.
The great Dan, Coach Emilio. Rye, tell us what can we promote for you? What do you got going on? When are we going to see you again? Possibly next Sunday for a little Niner post game?
Yeah, I'll be there next Sunday, 100%.
Awesome.
Or is it Monday? Are they playing Monday night?
Is that a Monday? Is that our Sunday, Kev?
I saw it was 5:15, so it's either a Monday or a Sunday.
I'll double check it real quick.
But either way, I'll be there, and then
Monday.
It's a Monday. Okay,
Monday.
Cool. And then I'm sure we'll have some Warriors streams coming up. I mean, pretty exciting. It's Curry dropping like 95 points combined versus the Spurs back to back. So looking forward to that. But you know what? Instead, I'm going to plug for Frank, who I think left a little note in the private chat I was a little confused about. But I wanted to plug that it seems like he had to leave so that he can go talk on his show In the Dungeon, which is spelled ENTHA Dungeon, In the Dungeon show. He's going to go talk about the Warriors game on his podcast tonight.
Warriors just finished playing just now.
The Pelicans.
JD, so Rye will let you go. Good to see you, man.
Last thing I'll say is just speaking of the terrible, I've been watching out of the corner of my eye. The terrible quarterback play continues. We got Jalen Hurts 5 of 14 for 12 yards passing. Wow. And Jared Goff 5 of 9 with a pick. So fun, good stuff.
Good to see you, brother. Have a good week. We'll talk to you. There we go. Guess who showed up at the last second? JD. JD, we're just wrapping, but give us your quick thought, and then we'll finish with you.
I thought it was imperative that the 49ers get off to a quick start in this game, offensively in particular, and to have Sky Moore take the opening kickoff 98 yards and set up an easy touchdown was, to me, that, and then the Niners getting off the field on that first series, forcing a punt, and then going right back down. I thought Brock looked like Brock with the changing of the play on the Kittle touchdown and just the dime he threw to Kittle. The 3rd and 8 to Jennings, he picks up 25. Like those 2 plays on that series to put the Niners up 13-0 after the missed PAT, it just looked like Brock was back, and this was going to be a very different game than his last return when he came back against Jacksonville. And different opponent and all of that, we get it. But the defense gives up a ton of yards, but forces turnovers. The defense is still obviously a concern. I mean, there are going to be games where the defense is just going to give up a ton of yards, and they're going to have to either win a bunch of big moments and force turnovers, or the offense is just going to have to outscore the opponent in order to get the job done. I think the Pinheiro injury is really, really concerning. I mean, man, another example of the Niners not being able to have nice things, or every win kind of coming with some kind of a cost. It sounds like Pinheiro might miss some time, which means, I mean, he's just been automatic, 22 for 22, some trouble on the PATs, but 22 for 22 on field goals. And the Niners are so good at moving the ball up and down the field, and they don't always punch it in for touchdowns. It's frustrating. We always talk about it constantly, but to have a kicker that's automatic from inside of 50, it feels like it's worth 6 to 9 points every single game. And that can be the difference in and of itself between winning and losing. So I actually think Pinheiro, if he's going to miss a month or a few weeks or a game or whatever it winds up being, if it winds up being the case, I think not having him could hurt the margin for error, because we've just seen how automatic and capable he's been. Great to see the defense get some turnovers. That's kind of my big thought. And you look at what's ahead, the Panthers, the Browns, the bye week, and then the Titans. There is a realistic shot for the 49ers to win the next 3. Not going to be easy. The Panthers are pesky and frisky and better than anybody would have expected. The Browns are always competitive defensively, at least at home. They were today, even against the Ravens, although Shedeur Sanders got in there and he stunk up the joint. So
Yes, I heard
if you wind up with Shedeur maybe playing in that game, because it sounds like it's what concussion protocol, right, for Gabriel. So maybe, it's 2 weeks away, so he could be back by that point. But the Niners have an opportunity here to win these next couple, and I think they need to, because the Bears now keep winning, and that's the spot. And I know they won today at the gun, and they led most of the game in Minnesota, almost blew it. But if you're looking at whose spot are the Niners going to take, because they're still 8th at the close of business here tonight and for the end of the week here, the spot that they're going to take, I think, is you got to look at that Bears spot and get the win against the Panthers, get the win against the Bears, and make sure that you get the Titans game, and if you get the Browns game, all the better. I mean, that you're to 10, you're to 11 right there. If you could get all those, you get all those games, you're at 11 right there, and I think that gets you in almost regardless what you do in the other games. So it's crazy to think the Niners are in this good a position considering all the adversity, but I think Brock Purdy also looked like a guy that's is healthy enough and projects to be capable enough to have the offense lead this team to another level than they've been at here previously, especially having Pearsall back in the fold. Him and Kittle looked dialed. Jennings looked like he was more of a factor today, and they didn't have to overtax McCaffrey. And McCaffrey was impactful, and they didn't have to overtax him. So, yeah, all of those things. Those are my first thoughts, and I guess my final thoughts.
Yeah,
wrap it up.
Yeah, we're wrapping, so we'll let you go. But just one last one on your way out the door. What was your summation of the callers that you guys took on the KMBR post game? What was the vibe, I guess, from the callers, and who would get your theoretical game ball here?
I think I'd give the game ball to Kittle. I just for the 2 touchdowns and getting to 50 for his career, and him and Purdy vaulting up the all-time 49er connection list and all of that. I mean, I'd probably give it to Kittle. It just almost ceremonially, I guess, for this game. But I think as far as what was the other part? The vibe.
Yeah, did you guys? I don't know if you guys took a bunch of calls or not. And what were the fans saying? What was the theme? What was their reaction? Very pro Purdy? Was it how bad the defense was? What was there a theme of the post game callers?
Yeah, a lot of the people are more devaluing the win because the Cardinals are so bad. Hey, great win, but does this really prove that they're contenders? Still skeptical. I think that was kind of the general theme. I think everybody thought Purdy looked good, but it was the perfect team for him to come back against, which, okay, maybe that's true. But my whole thing is, who cares, right? Like, who cares? The Niners are better than the Cardinals. They went into Arizona, they handled business. They got out of there with a comfortable win, and now you move on to the next. Like, I think, like, we need to stop doing the whole every week, could they be contenders? What does this prove thing? What it proves is they're one step closer to being a playoff team. And if they get into the playoffs, then they're going to have a chance. They're going to have a chance, literally. Now, I've said it on your show. I've said it on KMBR. Like, I'm skeptical as to if this Niners team, as they're currently constituted with the defensive issues and all of the injuries, like, I don't think I could pick them to beat the Rams or the Eagles or the Lions or any of the Seattle, any of these teams, honestly. Maybe Seattle, if Darnold knows it's a big game and it's a playoff game, because he looked like the Minnesota last couple games of the year, Darnold, today against the Rams down at SoFi. From the glimpses that I caught, I didn't watch the full game, so I don't want to get carried away. I'm sure he made some plays in the game too. I need to rewatch that one probably tomorrow when I get back from Arizona. But yeah, I wouldn't pick them to beat any of those teams above them, other than maybe the Bears. And the Bears are the team that's on their schedule in week 17. And if they can get that game, I think that they can take the Bears spot. But I also, so what? If they win 10 or 11 games, that is a really successful, positive season. And I don't think anybody should look at it like, oh my God, the defense is terrible and it prevented, and they got no shot to win a Super Bowl. Okay, maybe they don't have a shot to win a Super Bowl. Does that mean you just shut it down and
right?
Not like, they got to play 6 more games in the regular season, and they got a shot to win maybe 4 of them. Like, a realistic.
Well, they say, most people would rather love and lose than not love at all. Some Niner fans would rather not love at all. You know what I mean? I lose. I get that feeling.
People are happy with the win, and it looked good. I mean, it did look good, especially the offense, and Sky Moore gave him a jolt, as we talked about. But yeah, I mean, it's it was a feel good locker room down in at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. People were, I think they feel like they played a strong game across the board. I mean, again, they gave up a ton of yards, almost 500 yards, but they forced some turnovers, which helped them flip the game. I just think they're doing the best they can, man. Like, it's hard for me to look at the defense and go, oh my God, these guys suck. Like, it's just, I mean, they're doing the best they can with what they have. I truly believe that. And then they get more guys go out in the game today. And Bethune goes out and doesn't come back. He had a brace, by the way, like on his ankle as he was kind of leaving the locker room. So we'll see what's up with Tatum Bethune here. But I don't know. All in all, I think it's my sentiment. It was more on the positive side as it relates to this team moving forward here with 6 games to go. But I do think a lot of the fans are still kind of in that mode of being used to this team being Super Bowl or bust, because they're so starved to see them win a title, which I get. I mean, I get the name of the game is winning championships. I mean, it is, but some seasons you can have an in-between year and have it still be a good year. And I think, this is one of those seasons. If they had won 10 or 11 games 2 years ago or 3 years ago and got beat in the first round, that would have been a different story. Like, nobody would have been happy with that. And that to me would have been acceptable. I just think the goalposts for this team are a little different. And then, you get in and maybe you are playing a team that's got an exploitable weakness at that point. Like, you just never know. Maybe you play a team that somebody important got injured in week 18, or they're just, it's a one-game scenario. So you play a buttoned-up game, you force 3 turnovers in a game, and maybe that helps you win it. So I'm not saying I'm reluctant to say they have no shot, because we're still 2 months away from them playing a playoff game almost. I think it would be like the 11th or 12th of January. So we got a lot of time to go before they're going to, be in that position. But again, keep taking advantage of the schedule. That's what I would say.
I'll say the one last thought before we jet out of here is that, we can say whatever we want about Brock Purdy, but it seems like anytime Brock Purdy plays, the 49ers can score points. I mean, the 49ers
with
scored
McCaffrey
30. Yeah, they scored 30 points a game last year. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was very skeptical that Brock Purdy was going to step in. The Niners already had the number 1 passing attack, and nothing was going to change with the defense or the special teams. So I kind of thought, okay, I'm glad Purdy's back. There'll be some improvement there, but I don't know overall, because their defense is still really bad. But the bottom line is Brock Purdy, the Niners offense with Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, produces points, lots of points. I would say, they're probably good for 30, and they scored 40 tonight. So we know the defense isn't good enough. It's going to be better if they score more points. They scored more points. We'll see where it goes from here. JD, when do you appear next on the leader? When do we? Are you on tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to be on tomorrow for the last hour with Greg Silver. So I know you're going to be on in for Copes tomorrow. So I'm going to be leading into you we'll do a little power hour. Greg Papa's got to take off a little bit early tomorrow. So I'm going to wrap up the show tomorrow with Greg Silver. And then also just a quick note, because of the Niner game and being down in Arizona, and the Warriors were playing concurrently with the post-game show and all of that, no Dubs OT show tonight for us, but we'll be back Tuesday with Dubs OT after the Warriors take on the Magic, and then Wednesday they take on the Heat to close out their trip. Warriors did get a nice, solid, boring win. Moses Moody had a career high, and they didn't have to overtax Steph or Jimmy Butler. They beat the Pelicans, who stink, and now they're on to Orlando. So they're 3-1 on this 6-game road trip. So we'll be talking some Dubs back again on Tuesday night and Wednesday on the Sports Leader as well.
Brother, always good to see you. Thanks for all that you do, and we appreciate you. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. See you, Kev.
The great John Dickinson, who is fantastic. JD can do it all. I don't think there's anybody better anywhere talking Warriors with the level of depth that JD does. I mean, it's just absolutely, but he's great at everything. He's great with the Giants. He's great with the Niners, but I mean, unmatched, I think, Warrior wise. That show's fantastic. Kev, I'll give you the final word, man. It was great to see you. I know you had a big concert last night. Good weekend. Niners win. You feeling good? You beat your illness. You had that illness. You overcame the illness.
I'm alive.
You're alive.
Yep, I'm alive. I've been sick for the last week, but it's good. We still pump out content on the Krueger show. Rain or shine.
No days off. We're like Vrabel. I don't know if you saw Vrabel. Vrabel finally gave his assistant coaches a day off this weekend. They had worked for 74 days in a row. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's just football coaches. But go ahead. What's your
final thoughts for me? I left it all out on the floor tonight. But no, I'm just kidding. Follow the Krueger Show on social media, TikTok, Facebook. Like and subscribe. Hit the 5 stars on the podcast if you listen on audio, and leave a review.
Sounds good. I'm back tomorrow morning with Damon Bruce. We will do a live stream, and then I'm sitting in for Papa tomorrow, or with D-Pop, I should say, I'm either sitting in with Copeland or for Copeland, but I'll be on at 2:00 on in Afternoon Drive tomorrow on KMBR. So check that out. Have a great night, everybody. Niners get the win. Purdy looked good. 40+ points. Let's go.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Careful.